The FBI is here. They said they have an warrant. Holy sh! Holy sh! I'm unarmed! I'm unarmed! I'm unarmed! I'm unarmed!
Put it up, bull mass. I have an interesting saga here. So a Georgia man who threatened black people online. He went online, threatened black people, claimed to be an official spokesperson for the white race. Now, those seem to me like serious credentials, sir. Okay? Sounds like to me you are in charge of a gang. You must be gang affiliated. And you have now made a terroristic threat against a particular demographic of individuals in the state of Georgia. You see, the Crips and the Bloods, they can't do that without being raided by a member or members, law enforcement, a member agency of the federal government, or even local police. Put him back up. So he said he was an official spokesperson for white people. Okay? Now, Christopher Robertson, who goes by the name James Lomak, is now facing federal charges after he allegedly posted racist threats against black people, also Jewish people. He was arrested by FBI agents at his home on August 1st after a standoff. Now, authorities found a series of racially threatening posts on multiple Facebook accounts belonging to Robertson. A Facebook post from July 28th showed Robertson holding a black pistol loaded with a magazine while speaking about, quote, cultural genocide of the white race. Video's caption read, quote, I will not tolerate cultural genocide. Get that understood. I will fight for it. I will die for it. I will kill for it. Jordan, can you get the video back ready for me again? I want to see something. Okay, we're going to play that video again now that you had a context of what he made proclamation to do. Here's what actually happened. Here it is.
The FBI is here. They said they have an warrant. Holy sh! Holy sh! I'm unarmed! I'm unarmed! I'm unarmed! I'm unarmed!
Put him back up again. Sir, you said, and I quote, I will not tolerate cultural genocide. Get that understood. I will fight for it. I will die for it. I will kill for it. End quote. In a video he posted on August 1st, he threatened to murder black people who, quote, lash out openly at the white man, stating, quote, we will kill the ish out of you guys. We will effing murder you. End quote. Federal agents were first notified about Mr. Robertson's activities after being contacted by the Secure Community Network, a national organization focused on protecting Jewish community. This was after Robertson paid a visit to the Jewish Federation of Greater Atlanta. This was on July 30th. And he told the security staff at the Jewish Federation of Greater Atlanta that he was, quote, the official spokesperson for the white race and wanted to speak to a high-ranking Jewish official. Well, sir, it seems like you got your wish. After he left, he went to a Jewish synagogue in Midtown Atlanta and began ranting about the decline of the white race while making derogatory remarks about Jewish people. Now, he also went to a Jewish Shabbat building, which serves as a community center for education, social, religious activities, where he said he wanted to, quote, chop it up with a rabbi, end quote. He recorded his encounter with several staff members while calling himself the, once again, quote, official delegate of the white race, and posted the video to Facebook. He also told Rabbi that Jewish people were on, quote, verge of extermination. So the rabbi called 911. That is a veiled threat. Person has now showed up to the premise. He has made a threat. Robertson barricaded himself. But the 911 in his home after this, but the 911 call, while staff was barricading themselves in the office, one of Robertson's YouTube posts also showed him singing F the Jews, F you if you Jewish, one shot, two shot, leave you in the sewage was his proclamation. On the day of his arrest, Robertson barricaded himself inside of his home for hours when FBI agents arrived to take him into custody. Eventually, he did, in fact, surrender. It is amazing, isn't it? All of these threats, all of this on the record public display of terroristic threats against various institutions. He said that he would die for this. He would kill for this. He was still apprehended. I'm not saying he should have been shot. My point is there are a lot of people who never said anything like that, nor were they armed. They were shot and killed. They never would have engaged in such conflict as this man said he was ready to do. My point is there are some black folk who should be alive, not making any proclamation that this man should be dead. Now, let's go to it. So Robertson's brother defended him on Facebook. Quote, these are not charges that are going to stick. This is not right. He has been voicing his opinion on social media and his freedom of speech. He never threatened, the Facebook post read. United States Attorney Theodore S. Hertzberg of Georgia's Northern District issued a statement. Quote, the allegations against Robertson, which include menacing visits to Jewish facilities and vile online threats against Jews and blacks, are of great concern. Quote, protecting the community from hate-fueled violence is a foundational part of the Department of Justice's mission. We will aggressively prosecute criminals who abuse the internet to terrorize and intimidate others. All right, now, let's parse the law. What laws did he violate? Well, he made veiled threats. And typically, when you make a threat, that threat has to be specific. You have to have the means to carry out said threat. Once he started to show up at various places with the multiple threats, not only online, but also on premise, well, you have a great recipe now for terroristic threats and also an arrestable offense pending further investigation. In addition to that, it is quite known that your freedom of speech comes with the requirement of responsibility. You do not have unlimited freedom of speech. You cannot yell fire in a crowded building. Folk get hurt. There is no fire. You can be held liable, period. Your freedom of speech has responsibility. You cannot tell someone, I am going to hurt you or kill you. That is a terroristic threat. Freedom of speech has responsibility. So this individual is now claiming that he's a representative of the white race. By the post that I've seen in the comment section, doesn't seem as if anybody remembers from the white race that particular vote. He is, in fact, leader of the white race, thankfully. And naturally, this will continue to evolve, so we will follow it. Yasmin, talk about, listen, if they did nothing, and this guy ends up doing something, because it seemed as if he was pushing the boundary to do something physically against somebody, and he said he would, right?
Yeah.
If they did nothing, he ends up doing something against members of the community. I will be right here saying they should have done something. And now they have done something, so I'm saying I'm glad you did. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's true. This is a rare occurrence when we
Yeah.
actually see that something was done before something bad actually happened, right? I always talk about how a lot of law enforcement in this country is reactive rather than preventative, and not saying necessarily that they need to be more preventative, because I feel like that could create all kinds of other problems. But in this case, there were threats that he was actively making. He was going to different communities and threatening them in person. So yeah, this was a very clear thing. Like, this man cannot be someone that is allowed to threaten his community in this way. And also, like, I have to ask white people, like, is this who you want speaking for them? Did you guys vote on this? Do you have like a meeting and he said, this is the guy that we want representing us? Let alone, like, I can't imagine that white people want to be associated with this guy, let alone represented by him. But everything he's saying is just a repackaging of white supremacy and the great replacement theory, eugenics, whatever. This guy is unoriginal, but it's just sad when this like dirty, hateful, and clearly unintelligent man is so worried that he won't be at the top of the cultural food chain anymore. Because the only reason that a guy like this is allowed to feel superior to anyone is not because of his achievements, not because of his character, because of something that he had absolutely no control over, that he was born white. And that is very, very sad for him. He's not wealthy. He's not academically recognized. He's not celebrated in his community. He's a loser, and he's just kind of clinging on to any semblance of relevancy in his own life. But on top of all of that, there is the underlying reason as to how or why someone can devolve to this level of making threats to entire groups of people. He's clearly a marginalized individual. He's clearly fearful of the future and his position in the world. There's a lot of uncertainty that he's dealing with. He's clearly been abandoned by society for one reason or another. The big picture here is that this man was publicly bigoted and threatening, yes, but there are so many others who feel just as marginalized and abandoned and fearful and hopeless. The best way to prevent people from devolving to this level is to build up a supportive community around them. And until we do that, we will continue to see radicalized individuals like this. Unfortunately, the way that things seem to be going in our federal and also our state and local governments is the opposite direction, right? So we're going to continue to foster an environment where people like this will not only fester and grow, and movements like this will, but also it's going to be supported. This is going to feel like the best way forward. When you feel helpless, you feel like you have to fight or you have to flee, right? I did say that the best way to prevent people like this from coming up was to build up a supportive community, but I didn't say it was the easiest way. It is costly. It requires a lot of time and effort, deliberate effort. And unfortunately, we're just not heading in that direction anytime soon.
Let love be your guiding light. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever had.
Mhm.
Let love be your guiding light. And when we marginalize other people, we only accomplish at marginalizing ourselves.
Mhm.
And then the rest of the marginalization, this individual seems to blame on Black folk and Jewish folk. But the reality is, whatever adverse experience he has faced or anyone else, it is likely connected to an adverse policy that a politician has championed. All right, we'll bring you updates if there's an update to bring.